Hello friends, and welcome to another weekly update. And we made it to the end of the week, and we made it past GDPR. We survived GDPR, so cheers to that. I'll drink to that, and it's been another good week, I think. So a couple of interesting things happened this week. I put out a blog post right at the start of the week, and I know last week I talked about remember this. It's a new application I've put into the Teams App Store for free. It's a little utility application, but I wanted to spend some time talking about the actual process and the journey that I went through in publishing an application into the Teams App Store, because if you've never done it, you might not know exactly what's involved. It's one thing writing an application locally and sideloading it into your local Teams instance, and you can do that organisationally as well. You know, you can give out these your Teams manifests, and other people can upload them as well and sideload them that way. It's quite different to go from that to actually publishing it in the store where anybody in the world can access it. And as you might expect, there are some rules and regulations and restrictions in putting things into the App Store. You know, it's a walled garden, just like, say, Apple's App Store. And so there are rules, there's a validation process, there are some hoops you need to jump through. And so I go through those in this blog post, talking about the process, how long you can expect it to take, what you need to do, where you need to register, you know, and all the steps that you need to go through. So if you're thinking about publishing into the App Store, then you might find that useful. It's quite a long blog post. It's kind of a chronological blog post based from sort of starting at the point of, you know, I've written my application, I have a manifest file, I've got a sort of rough idea that I want to put it into the App Store, but I don't really know where to go. It goes through the steps. You know, you need to sign up to what's called the Microsoft Seller Dashboard. So you have to do that, even though actually, if you're putting things into the App Store for Teams, you can't charge for them. They have to be free, but you still need to sign up to the Seller Dashboard, even though you're not technically selling anything. So there's a process to go through there. There's some money that needs to change hands. You then submit your application, and you wait for them to feed back to you. There's actually two teams that you need to interact with. There's the Office team, because the Teams App Store is kind of part of the wider Office App Source catalogue, and you need to deal with those guys, and then you also need to deal with the Teams app team as well. So there's kind of two teams that you need to convince and get buy-in from. My overall experience, for what it's worth, was positive. They didn't feel like the gatekeepers they might have. You know, it felt like they were trying to help you to get through the process. It felt like they wanted your app in the App Store, and they were just maintaining a high bar of quality, and they were willing to do what it takes to kind of work with you to get stuff done. They were very helpful in their suggestions and you know, the things they were asking me to do. So overall, very positive experience, and you know, it's resulted in me having an app in the App Store, which is my first app in the Teams App Store. So yeah, it was good process. So if that's of interest, go and have a look at the blog post. What else has been happening this week? Fairly quiet on news, I think. GDPR's had a concentrating effect on everyone, just making sure that everybody's got all their things lined up, you know, ready for that, which is funny really, because it's, you know, it's been coming for a while. We've known about this for a while. This date has been in the calendar for quite a long time, but it still seems to have taken everybody a little bit by surprise. Anyway, good post by Mary Jo Foley around Microsoft, who are partnering with Accenture and Avanade. So two big names, two industry sort of vertical names. And they're kind of partnering with them around AI and around kind of customer service bots. I'm not sure, you know, I read the story, I'm not sure there's any technical meat here yet, whether it's just a partnership. It'll be interesting to see what comes of it, but it's interesting to see Microsoft partnering with companies delivering these vertically aligned customer service AI driven applications. I think fast forward a couple of months, maybe a couple of years, these are the applications we'll see making a big difference in how we get these kind of customer service roles done, how we get this stuff done at scale. Companies like Accenture and Avanade, they're the big names. They deal with an awful lot of this kind of retail packaged goods stuff, telecoms, retail markets. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see what they can do with AI and see how disruptive that is in the market. So yeah, an interesting story if you follow AI and really where things are going in our industry, in our community with AI and bots and machine learning and stuff. Interesting to see the larger, more established players picking this up now. And then the only other thing I want to talk about is Microsoft Teams community call. So this happens, it's a regular event, happens every month or so, and it's a really good call. If you're a developer and you develop on Microsoft Teams, or you're a developer and you would like to develop on Microsoft Teams, you like to think you could develop on Microsoft Teams, then you should definitely be listening to these community calls. If I'm honest, these community calls they contain the content I wish I could put into a monthly roundup video series, but I just don't have the time to do. They're rich on the changes that have happened to the Teams ecosystem for developers. So this month it's enhancements to App Studio to help make that development process easier, and then it's a number of demos which are really, really useful around. There was some demos around using SharePoint pages as tabs. There were some demos around adaptive cards and some demos around some stuff I talked about a couple of weeks ago, I think, about how you can have enterprise line of business apps in Teams. And then there was a little sneak peek at the end around task modules as well, which I still need to dig into and understand a little bit more about. So yeah, they're really good, these community calls. They're all recorded as well. You don't have to be there in person. They go straight to YouTube, so good for people catching up. But they're definitely worth watching and catching up on. Really good source of information with what's going on in the developer space for Microsoft Teams. All right, I think that's everything I want to talk about this week. So I will leave you to have a great weekend, and I will speak to you again next week.